Okay, searches. These are the last of the big three things in Tana: the fields, the super tags, and the searches. The searches help us surface information, especially based on information that may be structured with super tags and fields. It will help us group information by type or other similarities. And just like we said, super tags help us structure input, as fields do as well to a certain extent. Searches help us structure output. So the mechanics of searches. Live searches are Tana's name for queries. You can query something by super tag, you can query by field, you can query by plain text, you can really query by a whole bunch of things. I won't overload it right now. But most searches will have usually as part of their components some combination of super tags and fields. So you can create a search in a few ways. You can use Command K, and find nodes is at the top. It will just essentially assemble a search for you as you go through. If I say I want to find book example, and I've just assembled a list of all my books just by finding node and following some prompts, and that is a search. You can see it brings in all those that I created there. I can use a question mark and then choose create search node when it comes up, and I can then manually build a query, let's say for my book example here, and you'll see I'll get the same list as what I had before. What I like to do, just because generally I know the sort of thing I'm looking for, is I'll give a quick name to a query. I'll say books, and then I'll say convert to search node, and that way I have the title on that node, and then I can say book example, and I'll get my same query as I had for the others, but now it has a title before I turn it into a query, or a search rather, to use Tana's parlance. That's perfectly fine. Any of those ways works just fine, depending. I'll say the find nodes is useful for sort of more basic ones, but you can get really interesting and complex layered things by creating your own searches. You saw me use the buttons here. Run once in there means it will keep the search expression open for further editing. If you click done, it will close the search expression and keep the search live. So let's go ahead and find this here. I'll create one for books. Let's say book example. Run once shows those, but keeps this open here if I would want to add anything or change it. Done will close it. Okay, but it keeps the search will stay live, and if anything gets added, it will be brought in here. Now, something to know about Tana that's pretty amazing: you can add new nodes directly to searches. The node will be created on the current day node, but they will then be configured so all the parameters meet the requirements of this search, and thus it will show up inside this search. So if we were to say Aurora Dawn, which is also by Herman Wouk, you saw as soon as I started typing it, it tagged it book. It gave it what we had here, and it put it in here, no problem. So now it's in that search. It was created on the day node, the current day node. We'll talk about day nodes in a later video. But it matches this query, so it shows up here. So or and not. There are a couple things here that we want to be aware of. Every query is using and as a function. But some of them use or, and some of them use not. If I want to find all books by Herman Wouk or James Jones, that'll take out Gulliver's Travels and Atomic Habits and Christmas Carol. You can see here, there they are, like I said. In this query, you put or, and then you put to the right of that, sometimes depending on the layout, it may just be indented, but to the right of that, author Herman Wouk or author James Jones. So that gives me this or statement. And then not by Herman Wouk. This is everything that isn't written by Herman Wouk. Same layout, not author Herman Wouk. Okay? And I mean, I'm moving through this quickly. I know you can rewatch it as you need. But the thing to know about or and not is, I said that you can add directly to queries. You can add to this query, but it's not going to know exactly what to do with it. It should be able to tag it book, but or and not can make it so that the query, there's no one way for it to know how it should be configured. Not in terms of like a limitation of Tana, but just a limitation of logic. And so just know that that depending on the nature of the query, you may not be able to add directly to it. Exercises here, I'm not going to build these for you. You can do it on your own. This search will come in through the Tana paste. You can replicate it. Don't worry about results because we haven't created any books by Douglas Adams yet. And then create these queries based on these parameters. Find all events scheduled at Tynes Hall, all books written by Herman Wouk, all books written by Herman Wouk or James Jones, and so forth and so on. Create these for yourself. Again, if you don't have that information inside your workspace, you won't necessarily get results, but see if you can get the information structured correctly in the search. That will help you get comfortable building searches in Tana.